Welcome to Higher Caliber, where each week we dive into the backstory and history of the people and companies that keep America running.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Higher Caliber. Today, we're sitting down with Tami Oyster, the founder and CEO of Love Our Heroes. Love Our Heroes is a nonprofit that helps veterans in need located here in Belleville, Ohio, and it is a donation-only run thrift store. So, Tami, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So, Tim's here too, by the way.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry, buddy. I almost forgot you.
I'm like the third wheel all the time.
So, you started in 2019, correct? Okay. So, the one question I want to ask you right away is how long did it take you from when you decided you wanted to open to actually getting off the ground running?
Okay, so in December of 2018, I was at a crossroads, and I was in a marriage that I was in for 17 years. And long story short, I contemplated suicide. And so I just remember praying and saying, okay, there's got to be something. There's got to be something that will fix my heart and be able to help people at the same time. And so the next morning, I woke up and I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. So I had $690 saved, and I had a bunch of stuff that I had purchased over the years, flea markets and that kind of stuff, a whole barn full. And so I just decided that I was going to look for a retail space and try to sell some stuff, and I was going to donate the money to the American Legion.
Okay.
That was my plan. So from December of 2018, I got my first store. I had, like I said, $690 saved. The rent at the first building was $600. And I just, like I said, thought it was going to be a couple months and move on to something else. Yeah. And that's not what happened. So January 20th, probably of 2019 is when I officially opened the first store. So it was only a couple weeks. When I do something, I do it.
Getting it done.
I'm not going to wait around. So it was just going. And so I was in that first space for a year. And then we moved into the building we're located at now a year later.
Cool. Did you have any experience with starting a nonprofit beforehand?
Absolutely not.
Was that a hassle, would you say? Because it sounded like you got it done pretty quick. I've always heard that they're hard to start, I guess.
No, I don't think it was hard to start. It was hard for me to learn the protocol and the process because I didn't plan a business. So I officially got my nonprofit status June of 2019. Okay. And it was actually really easy because I just got an attorney who deals with that. Okay. And she kind of led me in the direction that I needed to go. So the longest thing and the hardest thing was waiting on the paperwork to come back.
Yeah.
So you could be a legitimate nonprofit, but it wasn't that bad.
And real quick, what did you do before you founded the store?
I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay, cool.
I've never owned a business before. I've worked a lot of different jobs, doing a lot of different things. And no, I came into this blind. I
just jumped head first.
I was winging it. I'm still winging it, to be honest with you.
I know you explained to us, and we just had a nice little tour, but can you explain to the listeners kind of the process, how it works when they step in, kind of what to expect?
So basically, when you walk through the door, you're going to immediately see military items all over the wall. That started with one person bringing one suit in, one uniform in, and then people just seen that and wanted to have their own items displayed. So that's the biggest thing for me is you feel at home as soon as you come in. You feel loved. You feel that everybody in here is appreciating you being here, and we're working hard to maintain that. So you come in the lobby, you see all the military items, and then you start walking through all the separate rooms that we have available. So there's a kitchen room, there's a kiddos room, there's a men's room, there's several different rooms to look for items in. So basically people donate those items in, we clean them up, we test them, we put them out on the floor, and then they are available for purchase.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, when I walked in here, I immediately felt like I could take a deep breath, like I felt at home, just seeing all the, so.
Oh, that makes my heart so happy. We're doing something right then.
Yeah, you're doing something right.
It's very welcoming in here.
Good.
So you said you just woke up one day and you knew what you wanted to do, which is help veterans. Was that, there wasn't like just help people in need? Did you know just right away, like help veterans?
I knew. Yeah, I absolutely knew. And I don't understand it and I can't really explain it, but obviously I care for veterans. I love our country and it's always been a part of my life in one way or another, but not like this. I didn't expect it to be like this, but if you're going to help anybody, right. This was the only choice for me. I didn't think about anybody. And I know there's a lot of people out there that need help, but man, the men and women who serve our country, they should come first. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
I might be biased. It'd be my first,
right?
It'd be my first choice. But yeah, I was just wondering that thought process. Do you have people in your family that are in the military or were in the military, veterans? Yeah,
my grandfather served, but I didn't know him. I've had a couple uncles that have served. I basically grew up in the VFW. So all my family's life members. And so that's kind of what I knew. I did like the loyalty day contest, and doing all that through that. But no, nobody that was really close to me that I experienced them leaving or, no, not really. So I can't really explain why I feel the way that I felt, but.
Well, we're glad you did.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So was there a lot of other organizations that reached out right away, or was there a growing period to where people didn't really know what you were doing and what was going on here?
Yeah. So when you say you want to help veterans, for one, all eyes are on you. And then when you say you're doing a nonprofit, it's even worse. So you have to be above reproach on everything, in my opinion. I want everybody to know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. So at the beginning, no, everybody was just kind of watching. And then we would grow. And then we would get, maybe one organization contact us, and then we would grow. And now it's crazy. The phone calls that I get and people coming in. Like I just met a gentleman who has a kennel in Ashland who trains dogs for service dogs.
Cool.
And it's just things like that. You get to meet so many amazing people. And when you do what you do, it's like, if we all work together, we could do so much more,
I feel the same way. I think there's nothing wrong with people individually wanting to help, but if people would kind of just get together and, kind of stack resources and, and get a lot more done.
Right. It's about who you know.
Right.
And if I can't help somebody, then I know where I can send them. I know who to refer them to, which is pretty cool.
And if you were just to say that I'm doing my own thing, leave me alone, then you wouldn't.
Then you're not doing it for the right reason.
Right.
You're not doing it to help people. You're doing it for people to be looking at you and seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
If you're starting a nonprofit because you want the accolades.
Yeah, you want your clout chasing.
Start a business. Don't start a nonprofit.
Right.
Right.
Do it for yourself. If that's what you want to do, you do you. But this isn't about me.
And I think we talked off mic that the thrift store just made sense to you for growing up in thrift stores.
Right.
Was there any other, or was that the first, like I'm doing a thrift store? Was there any other like approaches you were going to try first, or was that just?
No. After I prayed, like I said, I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. And I had all this stuff. And mind you, I only had $690. How do you start anything with $690?
Right.
I had no idea. So no, I was just thinking, okay, if this will last 1 month, and then I'll sell some stuff and then maybe get to the second month, and just keep going like that. And no.
Did you have help at all right away?
In the beginning, no.
Did people think you were crazy?
Yes, sir.
It is a little crazy with $690.
It is crazy. I remember my mom telling me I was crazy. Everybody told me I was crazy. My original board was totally not on the same page as me.
Really?
Why are you doing it by donation? Why are you doing it this way? I can't explain it to you. I just know that's how I'm supposed to do it. Yeah. And so, I'm a little crazy, but it's all right.
Who's crazy now?
I know, right?
About how far into the process when you were doing the donation only stuff, did you start doing more of the outreach, like helping veterans at their homes and stuff like that? Did that take a while, or was that just an easy kind of transition?
It did take a little bit. I know the first veteran I helped was referred to me by somebody I knew. The second veteran I helped was Ron, the gentleman we're building the house for. And then I think once that happened with Ron, I can't explain this either, but I had a VA caseworker reach out to me. And from that moment on, it was, she told her friends and their friends and their friends. We started off in Richland County and we are now in 7 counties.
Wow.
And most of our, I would say 90% of our referrals come from the VA.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, I
think.
think.
Do you find it's a lot of other veterans being like finally a place where we can go get stuff done, so they kind of pull their resources, and it's just
absolutely. Yeah, we are definitely a tool for them, which is amazing that we can even be there to fulfill the needs that people have.
Yeah.
So you talked about Ron a little bit and building a house. Can you tell us that story? Because I think that's pretty intriguing, because you were just talking about you had $690.
$690.
Yeah. And now you're building a guy a house.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about that?
It's crazy. Okay. So this gentleman was referred to me for food assistance, and I always ask for a grocery list for one. If you need food, I want to know exactly what you want and not just go to the store and get you whatever I think. So I get a grocery list, and the stuff on the list, it was like stuff to cook out with or to put in a crock pot. It was just weird. I didn't think he had a stove. So after about 45 minutes of being in his home, I convinced him to let me in the kitchen. The foundation was falling in. The roof was caving in. You could see daylight everywhere. Like, I cannot believe he was living like this. So we walked back outside, and I had like $600 in my business bank account. Not very much, but I looked at him and I just told him, we're going to fix it. My idea, as a woman who knows nothing about building a house, right? Thought I could just rip off the kitchen and start there, right? No. So I had 3 or 4 different people come in and look, and they are all just like, girl, come on. This is not happening. So
just put some plywood around
it. Right. And so we just had to reassess. And so long story short, we ended up buying him a mobile home here in Clear Fork to get him out of the unsafe situation. And we just told him we're going to build him a house. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I still don't know how I'm going to finish it. I do have a fundraiser coming up. We're about 70% there. We have a lot of items being donated, building material, volunteers like you would not believe. So we're just trying to raise a little bit that we still need to finish this project. But how amazing is this story going to be when we get to hand over those keys to a brand new house?
That's awesome.
That started at $600.
Yes. I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish it. It's going to be cool.
That is pretty awesome. When do you guys have some kind of rough estimate, like how much more time you're going to need? Like, is it this year, next year?
So my goal is to have him in his house by Christmas.
This year?
Yes, this year.
Awesome.
Like I said, we have one more fundraiser. It's coming up, and I'm hoping it's going to be in the next month or 2. As soon as we get the rest of the funding, we can get the guys in there and start laying the brick at the block. And I know we can get this rolling. We can get this house built in a couple months.
Right.
I know it, but we just need the rest of the funding for it. But I know it's going to happen. I just know it.
That's so awesome.
Is there anywhere somebody can go and just donate, like a GoFundMe, or I guess you don't really need GoFundMe if it's through you guys. But.
Right. Actually, yes. If you can send a check in and put the Ron Project on the memo, and then we have a specific account just for that. Yeah. We also have a donate button on our Facebook page. You can donate one time or monthly. But yeah, this fundraiser is actually going to be at the Area Agency on Aging. The Dewana, the CEO, we had several meetings, and this is we're finalizing everything now.
Very cool.
So she is providing the space, and she's helping us maneuver and get the people there that we need to have there. And yeah, I think we're going to make it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How big a role has social media been in the Can I say business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, it's definitely a business for sure, which that's the part I don't like. I do not like the office and the business part of it. But social media has been pretty much our only means of communication and getting the word out there. So I take it very seriously. When you donate money, I want you to know that I pray about every single thing that we do here. So I'm not going to spend $5,000 on advertising because that $5,000 can help a lot of people.
Right.
So it's been word of mouth and it's been our Facebook page. We actually just hit over 7,000 followers and I'm like, that's pretty cool. It's really cool. It's not as big as other people, but this is huge for us.
It's bigger than a lot of other people too.
It's huge. It's timing, right? So if we would have had that many customers and that many followers in the beginning, they might have walked in and been like, what is this? Because it was small.
Right.
And so we have a sign-in sheet and it's amazing to look at all the people who have been here, what they have to say, and all the different states. We had one gentleman who drove clear from Florida. He had been following us for 2 years, and he saved the money up to drive here and hand us $100 for a donation. He wanted to see it in person. How cool is that?
That's going to make you want to come back to work the next day.
Right?
For sure.
Right? It's just the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. Were you expecting this much support this soon?
No, not even close. But like I said, I didn't plan on it being a business either. I thought it was just going to last a couple months and then move on and do something else. And it's just not what happened.
You have an ice cream shop, or is that open still?
It is.
The one we just saw?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was already in the building.
Okay.
So when I came here, I'm going to try to make as much money as I can any way I can. And so if I can make money on ice cream, I'm going to order ice cream.
Right.
And it's just something else. So when people come in, they don't just come in and go.
Right.
Right.
They come in and they hang out. We have people that bring their own bags in, and we have another couple, the grandma, her kids do chores for her. This is their favorite store. They do chores so they can make money to come in here and shop. And then it's like, they make a day out of it, especially in the summertime. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Well, it's a cool place to hang out too. I mean, just looking, I know the people listening can't see the building, but it's a cool.
Yeah, I'm having a good time just hanging out right now.
A Western theme, a rustic theme.
Right.
I mean, and you said it was an old mill, right?
Right. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it's totally cool. So just to spend a couple hours in here and just walk around and look at the pictures, you could do that.
Absolutely. And spend some money while you're here.
Exactly.
Right?
Spend some money and help the vets.
Absolutely.
If you're going to linger, you better spend some money for the veterans.
Absolutely. But we do. We have people that just want to walk through and they don't buy anything, but they still leave a donation. That's just cool.
Yeah. Do you have any plans? Like, what are your plans for the future, I guess?
Ooh.
I guess that's hard to say, right?
Well, we definitely we need to purchase this building. So that's what we are working on now. But it was laid on my heart 2 years ago that we are supposed to have a Love Our Heroes in other towns. And so if that's what's supposed to happen, then doors will open. But how amazing would it be to not have to have everything be done in this central location and have one in Mansfield and Ashland and Shelby, and then maybe, who knows? I mean, look at the thrift store chains that we have now, right? They're everywhere.
Right.
Why can't Love Our Heroes be there too? So we'll see. I don't know.
I would much rather something like this be everywhere than.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I want to say that, this is called a thrift store, but
it's more than a thrift store.
It's more than a thrift store, and I think it's a step above, because nothing against the other thrift stores, but they're kind of sketchy at times.
Right.
Maybe not the cleanest thing, but this place, I mean, it's great.
And when a CEO of a nonprofit makes $536,000 a year and drives a Lambo.
Ooh, let's talk about that.
Ooh,
yeah.
I don't like it. So
it's not great optics, is it?
It is not. It is not. You can't claim to be helping people when you're doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of nonprofits that give other people a bad name, and I'm not going to name them, but I think we know the ones where, is it called administrative fees or whatever? And then you find out like 10% is actually going back to veterans. So I think that's why it just gets a little sketchy.
Yeah. You know, when it was laid on my heart to do this, it was not a business. It was literally to help people. And quite frankly, Love Our Heroes saved my life, literally. And so I'm not I do odd jobs. I do other things to make money because this is so important to me that I want people to see that I'm doing this because I feel like I was called to do this, not to put money in my pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious, at least to us sitting here, if you wanted to go make money, you could have done.
I'm thinking about another business. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I mean.
I'm coming up with ideas.
But you took a huge chance, $690, and said, well, it's either going to work or it's not.
Right.
And it did.
It did.
So
it's pretty amazing.
That's really inspirational, especially that makes other people want to come here and be like, this is where I want to spend. You have 15 volunteers, you said?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That are here pretty much every week. Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of story makes people want to come here and spend their time, helping make a difference.
For sure.
We have a lot of amazing volunteers, and they range from 9 years old to 80 years old. And every single one of them, people say that you're born into a family, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. But I also feel like you make your own family as you evolve and as you grow. And these are my people. Like this, I just can't imagine my life not having every single one of these people in my life. It's just the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we've started this whole podcast about, is people getting into the community and doing something about it. You're originally from
Mansfield,
the Butler area.
No, I actually moved to Clear Fork Valley about 25 years ago, I'd say.
Okay.
My dad's family lived here, so I've been coming here my whole life. But then, I went to Madison. Don't hold it against me. But no, I've been here for 25 years and lived in Butler for most of that time, and then moved to Belleville, and then things changed quickly after moving to Belleville for me. My whole life was turned upside down, and in good ways and bad ways.
Yeah.
So
what would you have to say about the Belleville community as far as a business and them being supportive?
Love Our Heroes would not be what it is today without the people in this community. They are amazing. Yes, we have supporters all over. I don't want to leave them out.
Sure.
We are in so many different places.
You always hear about Belleville, like
it's just
the people in the area will support
yes.
the local businesses. I mean, look at the grocery store, for instance.
100 years. Is that right?
What?
Stutz. 100 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason that it's here, because people care about what's here. Look at Whitey's, for crying out loud. Right. I mean, you can't come to Belleville and not know who Whitey is. And so, it's an amazing place.
Yeah, we talked about that with Donnie at LZ.
Oh, yeah. That
kind of support for local business in the community. You can see why something like this would strive. There's a lot of other places where, I don't know if it would. But I guess that was my question was, I was wondering if you were like, it's got to be Clear Fork or nowhere else.
Well, I lived here. So, like I said, people say, do what you know. This is the area I knew.
Right.
And I didn't plan it because, like I said, I only had $690. I couldn't have found a space probably anywhere else for what I found it for.
Right.
I got a really good deal, and it was over on Durbin, right beside Curly Q is where I originally was. And so, like I said, 900 square foot. And in the beginning, it was just kind of scattered stuff. But yeah, there's no way that I could have probably done it anywhere else. Yeah. Really. I was supposed to do it here for a reason.
I think that's true.
And it's been amazing. Like I said, this community is, they're just awesome. They really are.
Yeah.
The businesses, like Smith's donated the water heater when we first moved in. They helped, cover the cost of the paint. And there's just been so many people. Fast Eddie's donated pizza for the volunteers when we were remodeling the place. And everybody just comes together. They really just come together. Cool. Yeah.
A small town goodness.
I forget what Donnie and Don called it. I I can't even think of it. It's a television show.
Mayberry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, there's good things and bad things about a small town.
Right.
Everybody knows your business.
We grew up in Lucas, so we know all about that.
You know. So there are positives and negatives, but for the most part, yeah, it's an amazing town.
Do you guys do like community-based events or anything like that?
So we support community events. Like there's a gentleman by the name of John Oscar that puts on a wiffle ball tournament every year. So we provide the hot dogs and stuff for like that. We help with, the sports teams. We just had the girls softball team come in. We did 100, we call them hero boxes that we send overseas. And so we involve them in what we're doing, and then we get involved with what they're doing. So I wouldn't say that we put on events. We just sponsor and help anybody and everybody that we can.
Yeah. Can you talk about the, I'm going to butcher it, the spotlight?
The dress shop?
Yeah. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So we call it our Shine On room. So when I was at my first place, there was a girl who needed a dress. She couldn't afford it. And so I purchased the dress for her. And I knew right then that I needed to make that available for other girls. I remember growing up and having to go to thrift stores, and I felt less than because maybe I wasn't going out spending $500 on a dress. We didn't have that kind of money
to wear it once.
Right. So, I mean, yes, the dress was nice and, I felt beautiful, but it just didn't feel the same. So I wanted to make a space for girls that come in and have beautiful dresses to choose from, but not look like a thrift store, not smell like a thrift store. Like I want it to be dresses that you actually want to have, you know? And so, we started that, and it's actually gone amazing. We had one girl come in. I actually have her picture up here. I'll show you. She was entering a pageant and she needed a dress. So I felt as though I was supposed to just donate the dress to her. And I did. And she came back and she won, and she brought me a picture and she signed it with her crown and her sash and gave us a picture of her. It was just beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There was another time we did have men's suits back there at one time, and this gentleman came in with his mom, and she said that he was looking for a suit jacket. I had no idea why. So I showed her where they were, and then I'm busy. I'm like running this building like a crazy person. And so I got halfway down the hallway and I just felt like I was stopped. And so I turned around and I went and I told him, I said, listen, I don't think there's a suit jacket back. He was a 17-year-old kid. He didn't want like that type of suit jacket. He needed to look slick and all these things. He didn't want
elbow pads?
Absolutely not. So I went up to him and his mom and I said, I feel like I'm supposed to purchase the suit jacket for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to go pick one out and then just bring me the receipt. And his mom argued with me a little bit, but I'm like, do not take away my blessing, girl. Come on now. If I'm supposed to do something, I'm supposed to do it. Well, she did. Long story short, he was getting baptized.
Oh.
And he needed that suit jacket for that moment. They actually invited me to the service that week, and I actually got to witness that. So
that is so cool.
It's just things like that happen all the time. There's a million stories of how people, including me and the other people who are here volunteering, how our lives are changed because of other people. It's just amazing.
I'm starting to feel like you should write a book.
Oh my. I don't know about that.
At least ghostwrite a book.
Right? Ugh, that's scary.
So when you reach out to people, have you ever had a moment where people just wanted you to go away and didn't want to accept help?
Yes. What I have found is, for one, anybody who needs food, that's a pretty low moment,
right?
Which I have been there. And I feel like I was supposed to be in that place so I could understand where other people were at. And so it's different when you've been there. And I've had people tell me no, and I'm like,
you're going to eat.
I'm going to help you.
Right.
You cannot. You can do with it what you will. But I'm going to make sure you're taken care of is the best way that I can.
It's not easy to ask for help.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And we don't get a lot of people asking for help from us personally. We have people who refer those people to us. So then we have to bring them in and have a conversation. And some of them are, some people are having their hands out, and just wanting everybody to help.
Sure.
But that's not what we do. We're not giving you a handout. We're trying to help you. We want you to have an amazing, successful life. And so
give them a hand up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, trying to help them up.
Absolutely. Yep.
I love that. Like, I think we talked about earlier, there's helping people and then just giving them whatever you have laying around.
Them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's important for me so like I said, we have most of our veterans are transitioning from homelessness to an apartment. So the cool thing is they get to come in and shop, and obviously they don't have to pay anything for the items, but it's so cool to watch them get excited because they got a coffee maker, or these are my dishes, or, you're living under a bridge,
right? And
you served our country. Are you kidding me? It's so devastating to me that I want you to feel like you're my hero, and I want you to feel like that every time you walk through the store.
I think you picked a good name then.
Love Our Heroes. Yeah.
I think so.
I didn't pick it.
You didn't?
I did not. When I woke up that next morning after praying in December, I literally knew what it was going to be called, what I was going to do, and the first step I needed to take. That's all I knew. But yeah, I knew all of that from the very beginning.
That's awesome.
So you said that this whole thing changed your life. It saved you.
It really did.
At what point did you kind of have the feeling of relief, I guess I'm saying, or what I'm trying to say is, when did you feel like, okay, I'm doing it right? Like it had to be stressful spending all your money on rent that first month.
It was, yeah. $90 left over is not much.
I'm sure you didn't feel great then.
No, it was terrifying.
But when could you sit back and say, okay, like when were you okay and you knew you were doing the right thing?
I guess when could you exhale?
Yeah, basically.
The very first veteran I helped. So it was for food assistance. And I remember going to the grocery store and having all these bags just full of groceries in my car and taking them to this gentleman. And he opened the door and he just bawled. He did not want to accept it, but he knew he needed me to do what I was doing. Changed everything. I knew from that moment on, I was never going to not work hard to help as many people as I possibly could. It just changed instantly.
Good.
That's some powerful stuff. I'm assuming it's extremely therapeutic then.
It is. It is. Now, it's hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's a business. And like I said, I don't like that part of it. I would rather be the one out visiting everybody, doing all those things. So it's definitely hard to keep it moving, especially when you're growing. You have to stay at a certain standard, because if you want people to donate to you, you have to make sure you're doing the right thing. So there's a lot on my shoulders. But then you come in and you have these conversations and you see these veterans walk through, and it's just like, this is awesome. Yeah. This is awesome.
Like you said earlier, you can't be driving a Lambo around.
Yeah.
Right? Although that would be pretty cool. But yeah, no.
Just don't bring it to work.
Exactly. Hide it. Just kidding.
It's a rental.
Right? Yeah. Donation.
Do you have people that just maybe work for the VA call you, or are you actually getting like referrals from the VA?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get referrals from the VA. So we have a process. We are not like the VA, although maybe that's a whole nother.
You sound better than the VA. I can say that.
So
yeah,
they have how do I say this? They have a lot of red tape that they have to go through, right? So
it's socialized medicine. It's hard to get through.
Exactly.
I get it.
So it's not the caseworkers. There's so many that I've met that want to do so many more things, but their hands are tied. I feel very strongly about not having any government grants. And there's a reason behind that. Yeah, I can apply, and yeah, I could do all these things, but then they are in control of what I'm doing and saying and how I'm helping people.
When you just said no government, I just got really jazzed up for a second.
I don't like it. I don't want it. And we have received one grant from the American Legion, a couple from different churches, but other than that, no. And I am willing and okay with working hard to make sure I don't have to do that. I just don't want any part of it. But the VA, everybody has their opinion. I'm not a fan. I think our government can do a lot better. And I think you guys go over and serve and they treat you one way. And then I feel like they're done with you and they wash their hands of you. And then what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why things like this is important. For obvious reasons, but you can't really go eat ice cream with other veterans. Okay, I'm sure someone's going to gig me and there's an ice cream social at the VFW.
Probably.
But you know what I mean.
Right.
And the sense of community is important. I don't know how many people tell me, I just want to do something in a community. I want to build something. And I think that's why this is so attractive for people that find out like, oh, wow, it's happening right down the street. Right. So
yeah, I think that's the story I hear the most is when you get out, your friends where's your friends? You're used to a schedule, you're used to doing all these things, and then you're just thrown back into this world. Like, now what do I do? Where are my people? Where are my brothers at? And it's nice to have a place where people can come, and even if it's not somebody it's still somebody right? You have something, there's a common ground. So I love hearing these guys sit around here and talking to each other, sit in our rocking chairs and just chill out and have a conversation.
And we talked about that on our St. Patty's episode about the loss of identity when you get out of the military, and even if you don't know that person, if they served as well, you have those common.
Yeah. Well, that's when the original VFWs shined, because you just knew that everybody that fought the same war as you was back in your hometown. But you don't see young guys in the VFW anymore, and I'm not saying it's up to you, but you don't see that. You know,
I think there needs to be a space for people to get together and to just socialize. And I think the VFWs and the American Legions needs to step it up, quite frankly. I could say it a lot differently, but it's the truth. There's a place and a time for tradition, but there's also a place and a time to realize that what happens when you're gone, who's going to step up?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you don't get them involved now, if you don't give them a reason to want to be there, then they're just all going to die off. And then what are we going to have?
They should have started at least 40 years ago doing that.
Agreed. But now is the time.
Right.
Really now is the time. And it's up to you guys who are younger to get involved and to say, hey, we're going to make these changes.
Man. Well, when you're sitting there having beers with your buddies, you're not worried about recruitment and retention for your for your drinking buddies. But
right. And I think that's a lot of things too is, when you look at the canteen, it's different than the way it used to be. Now it's a bar.
Right.
And you're socializing and doing all your things in there, but it just felt and meant so much more 40 years ago.
Right.
And they need to come back to that. They need to figure that stuff out.
Are you going to put a canteen in the parking lot?
Not a bad idea. I have to get permission with this nonprofit thing.
Yeah. That's a maybe. No,
right? Maybe next year.
Yeah. So where can people go if they want to donate, find you guys, address, all that?
So we are located at 24 Bell Street, Belleville, Ohio. We are located right by the bike trail. You turn on Bell Street, and when that road ends, you're going to see exactly where we're at. You can donate on our Facebook page. There's a donate button. You can donate, like I said, one time or monthly. And then you can also mail a check to 24 Bell Street, Belleville. And if you want it for something specific, like we're doing this Ron project, just make sure you write Ron or the Ron project in the memo so we can get it in the correct account. If you just send a check with nothing on the memo, then it goes into our general fund, and that's how we help our veterans. And then, of course, we want you to come in and shop. We are always looking for volunteers, and we are also looking for household items. So anything that you want to donate, the only things we do not accept are clothing, mattresses, and box springs. Anything and everything you can imagine we'll take.
But so the clothing, like old school uniforms, not for sale on the wall, but
yes.
Okay.
All of our military items that you see when you come in, none of that stuff is for sale. If you have something that you would like us to display, we would love to have it.
Yeah.
Pictures, uniforms, anything that you have. We have, like I said, a Purple Heart back there, and it's just amazing. We have helmets and shoes, and yeah, the one gentleman brought in these pair of shoes. I'll have to show you. He's like, don't ask me how I got these. And I'm like, not asking anything, but thank you.
Was there a German tag on it?
I'll show you after we're done.
Okay. Well, great. Hey, anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want the audience to know about your shop?
Just that, I just want everybody to know how much we really, truly believe in what we're doing and how much we really care. And if you can't see that when you walk through the door, then you're not in the right spot. So just come in, hang out with us, and you won't want to go. Right. So I just want to thank you guys for having me on, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, Tami, later.